In Wayne County, Utah, Perry L. Jackson was known as the Fremont Troubadour, a hunter, fisherman, and philosopher. He was also a seasoned tour guide. Perry always loved adventures, whether playing with porcupines or taking his jeeps into places where no motor vehicles had gone before. He, with his brother J. Worthen Jackson, were tour guides in southern Utah for 30 years, starting in the late 1940s to the early 1970s, and they purchased quite a few Jeep models during that time. His first Jeep was a Willys CJ2A that resembled its military ancestor, with a tailgate, a side-mounted spare tire, a split windshield, and a starter switch on the floor. This was the vehicle Perry drove during shots taken for a National Geographic article published in June 1952 about his desert adventures. This is what happened to travelers before Willys Jeeps were produced for those seeking adventure in the Utah deserts. In 1950, Perry purchased a used 1948 Willys utility wagon, as shown in the following photos. The utility wagon was America's first mass-market all-steel wagon designed and built by Willys as a passenger vehicle. It debuted in July 1946 as the Model 463 and featured a three-tone paintwork that simulated the Woody look. Its fold-down tailgate hatch was ahead of its time. These two photos were taken near the Muddy River in 1952. They found an old steam engine vehicle and decided to have some fun with it. Get ready, go. Time to take off from the starting line for adventures with his 1950 brown Jeep utility wagon purchased in 1952. The Jeeps now have the three-winged hood ornament, with the hood getting a horizontal chrome trim on both sides, and the cowl. Willys seemed to like their design so well, they didn't change much from year to year. In 1950, the flat grille was modified to form a pointed V in the center, with 5 horizontal bars added to the 9 vertical ribs, as shown in this brown 4x4 Jeep utility wagon, which Perry purchased to accommodate tourists better. Although P.W. Tompkins was in his 80s, he would do what was needed to get the best shot with his camera. Here Perry is slowly making his way through wet Mancos clay at what is called the Dead World near Canesville, Utah. More slipping around in the deep clay furrows. This photo was taken on September 21, 1952, showing him taking a lunch break with 2 clients while exploring the desert up the Muddy River near Canesville, Utah. One of the first tailgate parties. Here is how he entered Cathedral Valley with Jeeps before it had roads and became part of Capitol Reef National Park, and now has maintained access roads. This shot is also in Cathedral Valley. Perry, plowing through sand and up a hill in his brown Jeep. It was the perfect vehicle for driving across sand and up steep hills. Worthen and Perry are taking P.W. Tompkins, a loyal customer, photographer, and friend, on a tour. Worthen owned a red and blue 1941 half-ton Chevrolet pickup used to carry their supplies. Perry and his brown Jeep climbing over slick rock. Worthen and Perry are pretending to move a large rock out of the way in a canyon, setting up camp in the shade of a canyon wall. In Harris Wash, his brown Jeep is parked under an overhang which is about 300 feet deep. Driving across sandstone is hard on tires. His son-in-law once said, "Other people have tubeless tires. You have tireless tubes." Making their way through Harris Wash near Escalante, Utah. Perry's digging up rocky dirt to blaze a trail. In 1955, hubs with which the front drive mechanism could be disengaged by turning the hubs by hand became optional on four-wheel drive models. In this video, we can see that there were no pop-up tents in Perry's camping days. His brown Jeep is going down a dugway across the Morrison Formation that makes the road different colors. Perry's left the desert and is driving through quaking aspen trees or Pando and Fish Lake National Forest. This aspen clone originated from a single seed and spread by sending up new shoots from the expanding root system. The aspen pando is believed to be the largest, most dense organism in the world. Where Jeeps couldn't go, they used horses. This is a pack trip up the Escalante River. This is the first night's camp before heading up the river. In 1956, Perry bought a 1955 green Jeep station wagon, as shown in the following photos. In 1954 and 1955, a Jeep's grille had 3 chrome horizontal bars, top, bottom, and center, instead of 5. They are in the Mancos Clay Formation area near Capitol Reef National Park. Worthen and Perry are taking C.W. Tompkins on another tour in his green Jeep and Worthen's green and tan one. In 1958, the Maverick model was introduced with two-tone paint with a matching interior. It was named after a Western television series that Willys sponsored. In this photo, Perry's green Jeep is parked above the Colorado River before Lake Powell was built. This is a shot on the way to height. This is height before Lake Powell was built. When the lake is full, the water reaches almost to the top of the cliffs, about 250 feet deep. Here they are crossing the Colorado River on the Chaffin Ferry, the only way to take a vehicle across to avoid a 300 miles detour to get to the other side. These men are unloading a raft from a 1935 Ford truck for a trip on the river. This area is now under mud and water at the bottom of Lake Powell. Crossing another river. This shot was taken in the Somerville Formation near Hanksville, Utah, about 60 miles north of Height. Perry also enjoyed taking his Jeep into the mountains to his favorite fishing holes. Lastly, Perry purchased a blue and white Willys Overland Jeep in about 1961. The stainless steel trim now goes from grille to the tail light, a design feature added in 1956. They also added a 4-inch hole on the passenger side of the grille for heater air intake. Perry is again looking over the Colorado River, knowing this view will soon be underwater. In the fall of 1961, a friend accompanied him on a tour with his Willys Jeep Forward Control, FC-150 or FC-170. Introduced in 1956, they were based on the CJ5 and went on sale at dealer showrooms on December 12, 1956. In this scene, a friend drives a yellow CJ2A Jeep produced in the late 1940s with Perry driving behind him and Worthen in his Jeep Maverick, bringing up the rear. Getting ready for another day's adventure. Perry had one of the first fuel reserve tanks after he came down hard on a rock and bent a crease vertically across his fuel tank. After that, when his Jeep started sputtering because it was almost out of gas, he would swerve back and forth on the dirt road and slosh gas from one side into the other. He could drive quite a few miles that way. You don't mess with old Quackatoots. Perry's Paiute Native American friends laughed when they heard about his dented gas tank and referred to his Jeep as Quackatoots, meaning hole in the bottom. From then on, the nickname stuck. Perry's Jeep days ended in 1964, when he traded in his Overlander to a dealer to buy an International Harvester Travelall. Since better roads were built in the southern Utah deserts during the uranium boom, he opted for a roomier vehicle with third-row seating, air conditioning, and a smoother ride that would be more comfortable for tourists. Worthen painted his last Jeep red when he joined the mountain rescue team. Here it is parked at Fremont, Utah, in front of his store that was built with 10,000 rocks.